A warm greetings. I am Dr. Muthaselvi, Professor in the Department of Information Technology, Kamaraj College of Engineering and Technology. So in the world we have living and non-living things. We require mutual existence and balance between these two. So for this we have to understand the harmony in nature. So which is an important topic in universal human values. Let us see, basically the human aspires to have continuous happiness and harmony. So happiness is to be in harmony. So for fulfillment of human aspiration, we have to understand harmony and we have to live in harmony at all levels. That is harmony in the human being, harmony in the family, harmony in the society and harmony in nature or existence. So here comes a question, what is my role or value in nature, which is very important. So here we have to self-explore, that is the process of self-exploration is required. So whatever stated is a proposal, do not assume it to be true or false. For example, helping others will make us happy. So that is a proposal. So here we should not assume it is true or false. But what we have to do, we have to verify it on the basis of our natural acceptance. Then the second one, experiential validation. That is, we have to live according to it. We have to experience, we have to help others and we have to experience it. So when we are doing the experiential validation, so we have to think about the behavior with human being, which leads to mutual happiness. The second one, we can work with rest of nature, which leads to mutual prosperity. So we can understand what is the role of us in nature. And in general, nature we can say it is a collection of units. So we have trees, we have soil, we have human body, we have metals, we have moon, we have water, sun, everything. It is collection of units. The question comes, how to explore the underlying design of nature or existence. So we have to raise the questions. Is there provision in nature or existence for living in accordance with our natural acceptance? Is it possible to live in harmony as an individual, as a family, as a society? Or coexistence, mutual fulfillment inherent in nature? So we have to find out the answers for all these questions so that we can explore the underlying design of nature or existence. So there is a mutual fulfillment among the first three orders in nature. So they are bio order, physical order, animal order, one more order is human order. Let us see the mutual fulfillment among these three orders. So in bio order I can have plants, trees, whereas in physical order we can have soil and metal. In animal order we have animals and birds. See, if I have physical order, bio order and animal order, they are interconnected, they are interdependent. Let us take one by one. So physical order and bio order. So we have the soil plant interaction. And if I take bio order and the animal order, the animals and birds, they depend on plants for their food. Animals and birds actually, they help to spread the seeds of plants from one place to other. Also, they protect plants from harmful insects and pests. And if we look at the physical order and the animal order, air and water, actually they are essential for animals to survive, whereas animals enrich the soil. So their dung and their dead bodies actually act as very good manure so that the soil becomes healthy. Then 3 orders actually they are enriching for the human being too, and it can be seen from our day-to-day life. And if we look at the human being, see, currently human order is not mutually fulfilling. So here not only fulfilling, that is for the other 3 orders, but the human being tries to dominate and exploit them to the extent of global warming and climate change. It is a question. See, human order, it fulfills the other orders, physical order, bio order, animal order. It is a question. So, human order actually, it refers to our natural acceptance and want to fulfill all the 4 orders. So, what is naturally acceptable to you? To enrich these 4 orders or to exploit them? That is the question. So, obviously, we would like to enrich all the 4 orders. So, once human beings understand this one, they can be fulfilling all the orders. And if there is no understanding, human beings, we lack understanding. Then what will happen? What is the problem? So, today we are having the problems. It is mainly due to lack of understanding. One example, resource depletion. That is, the resource used at a rate which is faster than the rate at which it is produced in nature. Example, it is projected that 600 million, that is 60 crore people in India will face high to extreme water stress. If we take pollution, actually here the particular product, it does not return to the cycle in nature which leads to pollution. And if we look at the harmony in nature, let us take the quantity of units of each order. So, the physical order, it is larger than the plant order, which is larger than animal order, which is larger than human order. So, here the quantity as per overall enrichment of the whole. So, in terms of that physical order, in terms of quantity of units, it is very, very larger. So, here dependence of each order, that is plant order depends on physical order, animal order depends on plant order, whereas human order depends on these 3, animal order, plant order and physical order. Then there is a question, how human beings do not live in harmony with nature? It is over exploitation of resources. For example, we are taking more water, fish and minerals than the nature can generate. The second one, pollution. So, we contaminate air, soil, rivers and oceans, everything. We human being contaminate. Deforestation and land use, cutting forests for agriculture, cities and mining, which leads to deforestation. Climate change, so emitting greenhouse gases beyond nature's capacity to balance. Then biodiversity loss, that is driving plant and animal species to extinction by habitat destruction, hunting and monoculture farming. And unsustainable diets, that is high meat consumption, which is using disproportionate land, water and grain resources when compared to the plant-based diets. So, here that is why, that is we can say human beings, we do not live in harmony with nature. So, it is given in the picture the ways by which human disrupt nature. Over exploitation of resources, pollution, deforestation, dishon, climate change, unsustainable diets. And data is available there. So, for example, humans appropriate approximately 25% of Earth's terrestrial net primary productivity, and global water withdrawals approximately 70% for agriculture. So, since 1970, world has lost approximately 420 million hectares of forest, and humans produce approximately 400 million tons of plastic each year. So, these are the data which shows that human beings, we do not live in harmony with nature. And recently we have many documentaries and docuseries from India which can be seen by us. One example, Nilgiris, a shared wilderness. So, here it explores the Nilgiri mountains, India's first UNESCO biosphere reserve. Actually, it shows how wildlife and humans have coexisted and the fragile balance in that landscape. And phases of climate resilience, which was developed in the year 2024. So, it is a 16-part short documentary series by CEEW. So, it tells the stories from climate vulnerable states like Kerala, Maharashtra, Odisha, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand. So, these documentaries we can understand the nature. Next, we have to think about the interconnectedness, self-regulation and mutual fulfillment among the four orders of nature. And if we look at the details of four orders, see physical, bio, animal and human order. So, if we take physical order, the units actually soil, metal or some examples. So, here the activity, it is formation and deformation. If we look at the self-organization of physical order, simply the existence, and the natural characteristics of this physical order is composition and decomposition, and inheritance, how it is inherited. So, here it is based on the constitution. Come to the next one, it is bio-order. So, here the units, plants, trees are some examples for the units. And respiration, that is the activity done by bio-order. So, the self-organization, that is by growth, the self-organization is done in bio-order. So, nurture and worsen, that is the characteristic of bio-order, and it is purely seed-based. The inheritance will be based on seeds. And next comes the animal order. So, here animals, birds are the examples for the units, and here the activity is done in the body. So, lot of activities can be done in the body by the animals and birds. Here selecting, tasting in the self, that is the another activity done in the animal order. So, here the animals or birds, they have the will to live in the self, that is the self-organization. Whereas, if we see the natural characteristic, being cruelty or non-cruelty in the self, that is a natural characteristic, and here it is purely breed based. And if we look at the human order, human beings is the unit. So, here lot of activities are done in the body, and imaging, analyzing, comparing, selecting, tasting, everything, that is the activity done by the human beings. And if we look at the self-organization, actually that is done in the body. Not only that, the human beings, they have the will to live with continuous happiness in the self. Not only that, we would like to have right feeling and right thought in the self, and right understanding in the self. And if we look at the natural characteristic, so perseverance, bravery, generosity, these are some examples. And here inheritance, it is based on the education. And what is the importance of the education? That is sanskar for human order. So, we can ensure right understanding in us. In turn, we can ensure the right feeling in us. So, with right understanding and right feeling in the self, a human being will be able to ensure the continuity, harmony and happiness in ourselves and live accordingly. So, we can act as a source of human education, that is sanskar for the next generation. Once this cycle is complete, then from one generation to another generation, it will be passed. And how to have the mutual fulfilling interaction of human order in nature. So, now the role of human being is very important. So, here we can facilitate a conducive environment for the activities of all the four orders. We can facilitate the innateness of all the four orders in nature, and we can participate with its natural characteristics, and we can facilitate the natural characteristics of all the four orders, and we have to ensure the inheritance of four orders in nature. So, that is how we can have the mutually fulfilling interaction of human order in nature. And what is the outcome of this understanding? So, all orders in nature, there is a definite conduct except the human order. The source of indefiniteness and the problems of the human being, actually the self operating on the basis of assuming, that is without knowing, without understanding, with the assumption we are doing the activities. And what is the solution? Just we have to ensure the knowing, understanding. With knowing, with right understanding, as a human being, we can also have definite conduct. And next question, my participation, that is my value in nature. So, what we have to say? So, while interacting with any unit of nature, our participation, it is ensuring mutual fulfillment. So, here it is by the way of right utilization in accordance with its natural characteristics. Then it can continue with its innateness and inheritance, and we have to ensure right utilization, enrichment and protection, which leads to the prosperity for human being and preservation of the rest of nature. Next one, realizing existence as coexistence at all levels. So, here we have to understand the submergence. Simply we can say existence is equal to coexistence. So, what is the meaning of that? If I have to exist, then I have to coexist with all the other units, that is going to be present ever. So, here I can have the units and I can have the space. And if we look at the units, it is limited in size, isn't it? So, if we look at the space, unlimited. And if we look at the units, they are doing activities, they are active. Whereas space, here we can say there is no activity. So, here the unit is submerged in space, actually energized in space. Units, they are self-organized in space, and the units recognize its relationship, fulfills its relationship with every other unit in space. So, here the submergence implies that every unit is energized right from the smallest atom to the largest planet, and every unit is self-organized in space and it is being in coexistence with space. So, in a definite order, it exhibits a definite contact. That is how one can identify or recognize and study the unit. And the third one, they recognize their relationship and fulfill it with every other unit in space, and recognize their relationship with that is space being in coexistence with space. So, we can say existence is coexistence. Then the holistic perception of harmony in existence. So, here what is coexistence? So, already we know existence is coexistence where units are submerged in the space. So, here we have units that is limited in size, active, self-organized, energized, where you have the material. So, the material, it is temporary and it is recognizing and fulfilling, whereas consciousness, so here activities are continuous and knowing, assuming, recognizing, fulfilling, all these can be done in consciousness. So, in the material, actually I have the physical order where we have the atom, from atoms we have molecule, we have the molecular structure, example lump or fluid. Whereas in bio order, I have cells, then I have the plant which leads to animal body, a human body. So, in the human order, actually animal order plus human order, where I have the right understanding, so that the activity completeness, that is living with right understanding and right feeling. So, here the contact completeness, when I can have that is definite human contact and it is linear and not cyclic, which leads to development. Whereas in the case of this material, it is cyclic, so that the development will not be there. So, what is the meaning of development in the existential sense? So, we know everything is in coexistence. So, whatever we do with the material world, it is going to be cyclic. That is, will keep changing and going back to the initial state no matter what we are doing. So, here there will not be any development. But in the human order, there is a scope for development or transformation in the self, and it is not going to be a cyclic one. So, here development or permanent change, when it is possible only in the domain of consciousness. So, in terms of developing the right understanding and right feeling in the self, that is one thing. Then awakening to the activities of contemplation, that is we have to think deeply, then the understanding of self-organization, and we have to live in harmony. Living on the basis of right understanding and right feeling. So, what is the meaning of that? Updating all our desires, thoughts and expectations in line with the right understanding and right feeling. That is very important, and the expression in the form of behavior, work and participation in the larger order. So, that is how the development will be there. So, now how to express the coexistence at different levels. Let us see that. So, we start with existence. So, here the relationship, it is coexistence, and the units are actually submerged in the space. So, it is the units are energized, self-organized, and they are able to recognize and fulfill. The second one, level name, it is nature. So, here the relationship, it is mutual fulfillment. So, here the four orders, physical order, bio order, animal order and human order. The third one is the society. So, how we are going to have the relationship? So, with right understanding, right feeling, prosperity, fearlessness, we can maintain the relationship, whereas human nature relationship, here the natural laws we have to follow. Then the family. So, within the family, actually we can have the feeling of coexistence by having trust and respect, love. So here it is human to human relationship. We can have justice so that it leads to undivided society. Individual human being. So here coexistence is very important. So the coexistence of self and body is important. So here we have to maintain the self-body relationship. The next one, it is self. So continuous happiness, that is the relationship actually we have in the self. So here we have to realize coexistence, that is feeling and thought of coexistence, which leads to a coexistential behavior, work and participation. And what is the role of human being in existence? So that is important. So I start with self. So here the dynamic activity is authentication and the state activity is just to realization. Whereas the determination, that is the dynamic activity, the state activity is understanding. So the third one, imaging, that is contemplation, that is thinking deeply. The fourth one, analyzing. So here I would like to do the comparison. Then the body, if I take the body, so it is selecting. So here the state activity is, it is simply tasting. So the other units in the space actually, behavior human, that is we would like to have the mutual happiness, which leads to undivided human society. So we can work with the rest of the nature so that we can have the mutual prosperity. Whereas participation in the larger order, as a human being, if I participate in larger order, then leads to the fulfillment of the human goal. That is, finally we have the universal human order. So what is the natural outcome of the understanding? So that is the completion point for a human being. Also it is the completion point of the universal order in existence. The universal human order and the universal order are now synonymous. That is when we understand, that is the human beings understand. Also it is the total expression of the existence. So simply I can say my participation as a human being, my participation in existence is to realize the coexistence and live in coexistence. Thank you.